Hey guys, I just got off the tractor, so excuse the t-shirt. But when inspiration hits, you gotta strike. When people used to tell me, you know what, you gotta love what you do, because if you don't, then the money won't matter. When I was young, I did not believe that. But guess what? It is 100% true. Hey, MCE crew, I hope your day is progressing profitably. Listen, what I want to talk to you about today is how to get rich, okay? And we're going to look at some phenomenally wealthy people, and we're going to take some clues from them, and it's going to become extremely evident to you what you need to do right after watching this video if you want to get phenomenally wealthy, okay? To have the best shot at that happening. Now remember, guys, nothing in this life is guaranteed besides death and taxes. So your best efforts, okay, it's time for us to just be adults here. Your best efforts, they might turn into absolutely nothing, okay? It's possible, but it's unlikely. If you really put the work in, it's more than likely going to turn into something. Now, when we talk about this subject, there are some caveats I'll get to in a minute. So let's jump right into it. How do you make a lot of money in this world today? Well, if we look at certain individuals and figure out what it is they're doing, then the answer becomes very, very clear. Now, here recently, Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon.com, Blue Origin Space Company, Whole Foods, the Washington Post, on and on and on. His wealth just crossed $211 billion. This happened very recently because the Pentagon included one of his companies in a very lucrative contract, and he's profiting from it. Good for him. So I want you to just get some scale of what this means. $211 billion. Of course, that's more than $190 billion. $190 billion is the amount of money that the country of Russia has in its sovereign wealth fund. Now, sovereign wealth fund is simply an account that a country will put money into to invest. So Jeff Bezos, the individual, has more money than the sovereign wealth fund of Russia, a major country. Phenomenal. So, Jeff Bezos just jumped in front of the people who are now the second richest people in the world, Bernard Arnault and family. They control Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy, and until very recently, his $186 billion made him the richest person in the world. But that all fluctuates. That top 3 or 4, it fluctuates around a little bit. What's a billion between friends? You know what? If I lose $1 billion, then we'll take your G5 next week to the private island. So Bezos is in the lead now. Rounding out the top 3 is Elon Musk. We've got Bill Gates at number 4, Mark Zuckerberg at number 5, Warren Buffett at number 6, Larry Ellison and Larry Page at 7 and 8. We'll talk about 9 and 10 in just a second, but I want to stop here. And I want to talk about the fact that most of the people on that list, at least the top 8, are in the technology business in some way, shape, or form. Of course, we covered number 5 is Mark Zuckerberg. You know what he's famous for. Larry Ellison, number 7, he is the founder of Oracle, the software company. Larry Page is one of the founders of Google, along with number 9, Sergey Brin. He also helped found Google. And it says here that old Sergey, he's got $97.1 billion, but his co-founder and friend Larry has $100 billion. I'm sure Sergey doesn't mind. Then rounding out the top 10 is Amancio Ortega. Mr. Ortega is the wealthiest person in Europe for now. He co-founded Inditex. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. and it's a fashion chain, basically. So most of the people on our list are in the tech industry. But all of the people on our list own companies, okay? Own businesses, every last one of them. Now, none of that wealth that you saw there was, this is Prince so-and-so whose wealth started out, 300 years ago. Nope. There are no Rockefellers on that list, no Carnegies, none of that. All of these people built businesses. They built companies, okay? Now, although most of these companies are in the tech industry, remember, Warren Buffett's on that list as well. And Warren Buffett, you might say, well, wait a minute. Warren Buffett's an investor. He doesn't own a business. Indeed, he does own several businesses. That is how he generated his wealth. And owning a business is the most probable way for you to create the types of returns that will kick you off into, the financial stratosphere, a high net worth, of being a high net worth individual. Okay, and that's because, according to the Small Business Administration, a well-managed business, now all things have got to be equal. You've got to have a business that is in an industry that's in demand, okay? You can't be producing, vintage buggy whips or anything that's not in demand. All of the things on this list, people want it. People are clamoring to get it. So if you got a business that's well-managed in an industry that's in demand, the Small Business Administration says that you can expect returns between 15 and 30%. And that beats the 8 to 10% that the S&P 500 has returned historically for just being a passive investor. So if you're out there buying stocks and things like that, that's fine. But just understand that the return on that is going to be generally less. Now, of course, we're talking about the S&P 500. When you look at individual stocks, there are going to be some winners out there that do phenomenally over time. Picking those winners, that's the challenge. So in general, stocks are going to return between 8 and 10% in general. Your active investments, like owning your own business, 15 to 30%. Real estate is going to be up there in the, depending on what you do with the real estate, this is going to be up there in the 8 to 10% range as well. And commodities, remember, commodities are not really situated to, provide you with this extraordinary return. Gold, for example, doesn't provide any income. What commodities typically do, in many instances, is they provide a hedge against inflation, so their value grows over time and stays relatively stable out in front of inflation. But let's talk about Warren Buffett, because even though he's way down on this list at number 6, he's still a great example of business ownership. And the reason for that is because, again, he is usually billed as an investor. And people lose sight of the fact that his company, Berkshire Hathaway, that company is basically a holding company for a lot of other companies that they manage. That company, Berkshire, is an insurance company. But you also have to understand that Warren Buffett owns Geico, little green salamander or whatever that thing is that you see on the commercials. Warren Buffett owns, Berkshire Hathaway owns Geico, Dairy Queen, Burlington Northern Santa Fe Rail. He also owns the Pampered Chef. What's the other company that he owns? It's a multi-level marketing company, actually, along with Pampered Chef. Kirby Vacuum. They call it Kirby Home Services now. And Encyclopedia, the World Book Encyclopedia, another multi-level marketing company. So Warren Buffett owns all of those companies. He owns companies. And with Berkshire Hathaway, that company takes in a lot of money on a regular basis because people are paying insurance premiums. And then the way insurance companies make their money is when you pay your premium, they go invest that money and they make a return on it. And insurance companies have some of the absolute best minds when it comes to investing. Because remember, if you call that company and you say, well, I want to file a claim, then they've got to go ahead and they've got to work with you on that. So they got to shell out money. So insurance companies have to be in a situation where they are making money. They cannot play around when it comes to their investments. And that's the business that Warren Buffett is involved in from the standpoint of Berkshire Hathaway. Now, let me just digress for just a second and share with you that Berkshire Hathaway, because people always find this very interesting. Berkshire Hathaway's A shares, they are pretty darned pricey. And the reason why is because Berkshire Hathaway has never split the stock. Okay, when stocks get up in value, sometimes the company performs a split. Berkshire has never done that. And their shares are going for $419,401 at the close of business today, July 7th, 2021. The shares were up $2,400. They're down in the after hours, but forget about the after hours. I just want to demonstrate to you how lucrative owning a business is. Okay, look at that, $419,000 a share. If you wanted to get in on Warren's success and you don't have that kind of money laying around, there are the Class B shares, which are a little less expensive. Berkshire Hathaway Class B, oh wow, $279.24. So there you go. In any event, another good example of what we're talking about with business ownership is the richest man in the world, Mr. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. He owns Whole Foods, a host of other companies, Blue Origin, the space company. They're going to start doing space tourism soon. And of course, the big one, Amazon. So if you are trying to figure out with all of the asset classes, what do you do to go out here and make money? The one that is going to put the most return in your pocket, again, all other things being equal, well managed, in an industry that is in demand, is going to be your own business. Okay? These guys prove it. We don't have any Rockefellers on this list. We don't have any, people from the House of Windsor on this list. We have folks that started businesses with the exception of the Arnaults. I don't know when they started that business, but everyone else has started the business within the last 60 years. Okay, so there's a testament to what business ownership can do for you. Oh, and one more thing I want to say, guys, before we end here is that, you know what? You don't need to found one of these high-tech companies. You don't need to be the next Google. You don't need to be the next Oracle or Amazon. In fact, a lot of times, if you can get into a business that is in an industry that already exists, an industry that has proven that you can make money in that industry, then you've given yourself a little bit of a head start, okay? So if you've got some expertise and a flair for the ability to convince people to buy things or convince people to do things, then your own business could be the way for you to go. Now you got to sit down and figure out what you want to do, because running your own business is not easy, okay? And you don't want to get into a situation where, well, I'm making a whole lot of money, but I hate what I do. I used to think, when people used to tell me, you know what, you got to love what you do, because if you don't, then the money won't matter. When I was young, I did not believe that. But guess what? It is 100% true. You got to love what you do. And if you can find something you love doing and make money, then your life is going to be just grand. All other things being equal. Guys, I'll talk to you soon.